Unmuted. Let me see. So much hair. I'm shocked and appalled. Let me see. Oh yeah. Might as well. Might as well, right? Who are you? Mhm. Alright. We are here. We are super queer. Oof. And let's see who's here. Apart from me. Who's queer? Hello, Greater Range. I guess you're queer. I declare thee to be queer. I've got a treat for you. A wonderful treat. For the start of the stream. The most wonderful treat that I can think of for you. Let me look for it. YouTube. Not this. Not this. Not this. Hello, fake Kyle Parker. I've got a treat for you as well. Where is it? Jesus. Where's the treat that I've got for you? It's impossible. I had it, I swear. Oh, found it. Found the treat. I'm gonna be so excited for this one. It's not in the title, but you know what? Whatever. You deserve it. You deserve the treat for being here. So let's put it on screen, shall we? There you go. Found it. It's incredible. You ready? You ready for this? I think you're ready. I'm ready. Oh. YouTube alert. Oh. Alright. Let us start watching this beautiful gem of a video that I found just for you. Especially for you. And nobody else. It's only for the people that are here. Okay, let's start.
In the early days of video games, graphics and processing power was limited. Home computers and consoles during...
Have you ever played this? I've played this as a kid a lot. The first Mario game. Oh my gosh. The memories of playing the first Mario game. Exquisite. But yes, the video maker is of course correct. The graphics was in fact limited. In fact, this is high fidelity graphics. Graphics started off being just letters and numbers. So this is actually not the limited graphics. This is just super high complicated graphics. If you really want to go back to the limited graphics, we'd go to the letters and numbers on the screen.
During the 8-bit era, had low screen resolutions and small color palettes. CPUs, the brains of the computer, would normally run at low clock speeds, and memory was limited. Still, these limitations didn't stop from some amazing games to be developed. But one area where video games struggled was rendering 3D graphics. Computers and early game consoles weren't really up to the task, and they weren't really meant to render 3D at all. Of course, there are exceptions to this. Games like Elite, Revs, or Stunt Car Racer proved that it could be done. However, these games were developed by skilled programmers who squeezed every last drop of performance out of the machine. But for any good early 3D
was
game,
pretty cool.
there were mainly terrible ones that couldn't run more than a few frames per second. And if you look at most 8...
I've played that one as well, by the way, the Raccoon Leaf power-up. That was my favorite, actually. And that power-up was my favorite power-up.
bit computers and consoles at the time, like the Commodore 64 or the NES, the hardware was built in mind for fast 2D drawing and hardware sprites. 3D was simply not an option. However, there would be a clever way for developers to create a pseudo 3D effect on a 2D screen that played nice with tile and bitmap-based screens known as isometric projection. It provides the player with a sense of depth and dimensionality that even with a limited color palette could display some amazing visuals. But not only this, with a much larger color palette and a much larger screen resolution would allow for larger, more detailed worlds, only limited by the artists themselves. This isometric perspective used in video games would become so popular that many of the best games ever made would use it. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the lost art of isometric 3D games and the creative ways...
I mean, is it a lost art? Ironically enough, Lost Ark is one of the games that utilizes this isometric view. I don't know if it's a lost art. New games still come... New games are still being made with the isometric view. Yeah, I'd say so. I would say that Project Zomboid is isometric. In my opinion, at least. Yeah.
Developers would apply it to video games. Today's episode is brought to you by Delete Me. As someone who works in the video game industry and as a known public figure, maintaining my privacy is extremely important. And sometimes I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle. Last year I got an email from what appeared to be a YouTube representative. Now, being tech savvy, I knew that this was a scam. But what I didn't really understand at the time was how these scammers were able to get my information so easily. Well, it's all thanks to data brokers, and these are large corporations that collect huge amounts of your personal identifiable information and package it all together. And these data brokers will also sell your data to other data brokers, and there are hundreds, maybe thousands of these sites on the internet. Now, you have the right to stay private and protect your personal data, and that's where Delete Me comes in. It's an online subscription service that will scrub the internet for you and remove your personal data from hundreds of these data broker websites. Now, once you've signed up for the service, Delete Me experts will find your personal information online.
I want to be deleted.
From over 750
that sounds so bad.
The first
to say that I want to be deleted.
7 days of using the service.
Delete me.
Check this out.
Delete me out of the internet.
These are all the data broker sites that my information was found on. Now, as you can see going down this list,
I can see it.
Have removal requests pending, while others have already been removed. Now, a lot of you may be asking, how can you be so sure that Delete Me can be trusted with your contact and profile information? Delete Me emphasizes transparency and control, allowing users to manage their personal information effectively, and they only collect minimal necessary data, such as contact and profile information, and you get to decide what information to share and how it's being used. So what are you waiting for? Get 20% off customer plans when you visit joindeleteme.com/MVG and use promo code MVG at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/MVG, code MVG at checkout.
Gifted for me.
In its simplest form, isometric projection is a way to draw 3D objects on a 2D plane so they appear to have depth. Drawing a simple cube, for example, like my terrible one here that I'm doing in Microsoft Paint, as I start to draw this out, you can see that this cube begins to take form. But what you'll notice is that the horizontal lines that I'm drawing at the base and at the top of this cube are all the same angle, which is 120 degrees. Well, roughly, because this is an approximation, of course. But as we continue to draw this cube, you'll notice that we end up with 3 faces: the front face, the side face, and the top face. Now, it's up to
you also write
determine which face is the front.
And math, you usually also draw the interior. You don't just draw the exterior. When you do math problems, you usually, I guess, you draw a transparent cube.
But you get the idea here. Now, because each line and direction are all equal angles, none of the faces look squashed, and because there's no vanishing point or perspective, everything stays the same, so the developer doesn't need to worry about scaling pixels. Objects don't get smaller as they move further away. Instead, they maintain the correct sense of scale without any distortion. And by creating hundreds of these perspective blocks and applying hand-drawn pixel art to them allows for large worlds, large cities, dungeons, maps, and even galaxies to be built out. And this is the basis of isometric projection in video games. Now,
the Japanese tactical RPGs are usually in this perspective.
The earliest game I ever remember to use an isometric projection was Zaxxon in the arcades. The game wasn't just an aesthetic choice, but it was also part of the design. You see, most arcade games at the time were 2D top-down games where you could move your ship left and right, forward and back. In comparison, Zaxxon's isometric style did away with the forward and back movement, opting instead for up and down to avoid obstacles. By being at the same height as the enemy, it would play a small sound effect to let the player know that you could shoot down the enemy. And there was an indicator on the left-hand side to let you know where you were as far as your height off the ground.
Wow. What a game this is. Well, there was a Sonic game in this perspective.
And 1983's Marble Madness by Atari also featured isometric projections. It's a simple puzzle
I've never
game
played
that
this.
The player guide a marble through 6 stages.
Probably throughout this video I'll be telling you if I played a game or not that is presented. I think you really want to know. I feel like you're excited to know if I've played a given game or not. Hello tipster. Are you here to watch me watch this amazing video about old games? Hello Jordan. You should join the page, tipster, not just be on YouTube.
That are filled with various
I've not played this ever.
Obstacles, and in the arcades used a trackball instead of a conventional joystick.
In fact, I'd never heard of this before.
To maneuver the marble. It wouldn't be long before home computers also began to experiment with isometric 3D games.
I've also never heard of this before. What game is this?
And perhaps no game was more important on the home computer than 1984's Night Lore, developed by Ultimate Play.
No, never heard of Night Lore. Never. 1984 as well. Wow. Yeah, Sonic 3D Blast was a very underrated game. I've heard of Sonic, the isometric one, but I've never heard of Night Lore.
The game would later become rare.
Oh, you've played
Night
it?
Lore is considered one of the greatest games ever made.
Really? Night Lore is one of the greatest games ever made. We should play it on stream so that we can decide if it's... Can you even still get it? You feel you can still get Night Lore? Can somebody guide me in the direction of Night Lore? Please? Didn't get very far.
Released for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, a computer with only 48 kilobytes of RAM, a Zilog Z80 processor, and a color palette of just 15 colors, Night Lore's groundbreaking use of isometric projections is what gave the game its unique style. The engine built for the game was known as Filmation, and would go on to run other arcade adventure titles for the company. The two biggest things that you will notice when you play Night Lore is that the graphics are mostly monochrome. This is to...
Yeah, I've noticed. I did notice that. It's hard not to notice, to be quite honest with you.
Work around the color clash limitations of the ZX Spectrum's color palette and allowed for high levels of hand-drawn detail that was simply mind-blowing back in 1984. The other amazing functionality is what is known as the image masking technique that could place objects in front, behind, above and below others and interact with each other in very realistic ways. Night Lore was so popular and influential that not only did it get ported to many other systems at the time, it started a movement of what is known as Night Lore clones. And it also...
I've never heard of it. And yet I've never heard of it. What was it called again? Night Law? Does anybody know how to get this game? Crystal Castle. Interesting.
Also made other game publishers take a look at Night Law and come up with their own ideas to apply an isometric projection to their own games.
This will look like Settlers. Populous! Oh my god, I never could play this. I was stuck on the password, which I didn't get. The game demanded that you typed in a password before starting it. But I never had the password, so I never was able to play it.
When the 16-bit machines such as the Commodore Amiga had arrived, graphics and
I had a Commodore 64.
processing power had advanced significantly. Resolutions were higher and color palettes were improved. The
Wow, this looks so amazing, actually, compared to the thing that we just saw. Wow, what graphics, what fidelity. Amazing.
concept of simulation games were popular, and isometric games on computers were no longer limited to smaller flip-screen style adventure games. 1989's Populous was a groundbreaking strategy game that used the effect in a very impressive way. Bullfrog Software, led by Peter Molyneux, would apply the same design principles to many of their earlier games,
Like Civilization,
Cowabunga, Theme Park, Populous 2, and 1993's Syndicate, a
Wait, Civilization also used
real-time tactical and
Syndicate. I did not play Syndicate, but do you know what I played? Syndicate Wars. I think it was a sequel to Syndicate.
strategy game that consists of a player controlling up to a team of 4 cybernetic agents and performing missions to take control of countries around the world. These missions range from assassinations, escort, and rescue missions. By 1993, IBM PCs had started to pull ahead of the Amiga, and
Yeah, I had an IBM. Also, I played Syndicate
Syndicate
Wars.
is a great example of how the game looks so much better due to its high-resolution 640 by 480
True.
graphics that ran
Amazing.
with 16 colors. Syndicate is a show.
Something about isometric shapes seems to have a clean aesthetic. It's sort of commoditized of shapes. Yeah, it does look nice.
Of how to do isometric projection and apply it to a real-time strategy combat game in exceptional ways. It's an absolute masterpiece.
I only played the sequel, Syndicate Wars.
Just like home computers, game consoles at the time, like the Super NES or Sega Genesis, weren't capable of rendering true 3D without assistance. And by the mid-90s,
Super Mario
and the dawn of
RPG.
PC 3D graphics cards, the Sony PlayStation 1, the Nintendo 64, there was a change across the industry. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
2D wasn't cool anymore. 3D was the new.
And now 2D is cool again. Because people realized that 2D was great not just because it was a limitation. It has a very appealing aesthetic. The new Ninja Gaiden game is gonna be 2D, did you know?
new thing. And if you were someone who owned an older Super NES or Genesis, you simply had no answer. But that didn't stop game developers from innovating and offering up a 3D-like experience. 1996's Super Mario RPG is probably one of the most well-known of the games to feature isometric projections on the hardware. It
True.
opened up the game and provided a more 3D-like experience on the 2D tile-based hardware, but also combined traditional Mario mechanics and RPG elements to differentiate it from existing Mario titles. Its use of isometric graphics also allowed for more interesting and complex level design, and it allowed for the player to see more of the environment around them. On the Sega Genesis, 1996's Sonic 3D Blast was the final Sonic game for the
I
hardware,
remember.
and Sega were looking to bring Sonic into a 3D era. According to lead programmer John Burton, it was time for something new. The isometric view is very notable for a Sonic game, and the game would also make use of 3D rendered models converted
Pretty
into
cool.
sprites, which was inspired from Rare's work on Donkey Kong Country. This concept of pre-rendered 3D models coupled with an isometric view would really start to take form on the PC in the late 90s.
Let's see.
While console
Diablo.
gamers were ditching the Super NES and Genesis in favor of 3D-capable systems like the PlayStation and Nintendo 64, on the PC, things took a little bit longer. 3D-accelerated graphics cards like the 3DFX Voodoo were enthusiast-level upgrades, and for the rest of us, games were usually running on software renderers, which meant that games would run slower and more pixelated. A game like Quake from id Software demanded a pretty beefy PC at the time, at anything that most people would consider a good
Quake was
frame rate.
good.
However, most PC users had systems that ran super VGA resolutions, up to 1024 by 768,
True.
with 16 or 32-bit color palettes, but no 3D hardware. This meant that games could now render 3D objects as pre-rendered graphics, and by using a fixed isometric view at much higher
Diablo was
resolutions,
good.
the results can be brilliant landscapes with so much detail and visual charm that
I think it's my
simply hasn't been
favorite
seen
Diablo,
before.
Diablo 1.
1996's Diablo was, for many, the game that started it all.
A lot of people think Diablo 2 was the best one, but I think Diablo 1. Diablo 1 was the best Diablo.
The massive action RPG from Blizzard is still one of the most talked about and popular franchises in the world, and it took real-time action RPG mechanics and combined it with randomized dungeons, a robust loot system, and an amazing soundtrack. The game itself looks beautiful and has aged like fine wine. The
True.
isometric design is not only visually appealing, it's crucial for navigating through the dungeons and keeping an eye on what's around you at all times. Diablo is a true classic that only got better with the sequel Diablo 2 releasing in 2000. By the early 2000s, isometric strategy and RPGs really started to become popular on the PC. They were powerful
StarCraft.
enough now where the CPUs could handle many different systems at once. Isometric games started to have more background effects and animations with so much more fine level of detail, with lighting and shadowing to give the illusion of a vast 3D landscape. This is 2001's Desperados Wanted Dead or Alive.
Never played it.
It looks like an oil painting that's been brought to life with every single pixel.
Okay, no it doesn't. Let's not get over ourselves. It does not look like an oil painting.
It's a brilliant strategy western game with movie cutscenes, a complete campaign with story, and many characters that you'll run into. It's a wonderful blend of strategy and tactics, and it looks like an amazing piece of art that still looks every bit as good in 2024 as it did all the way back in 2001.
It does look good, but it's not like an oil painting, okay?
Roller Coaster Tycoon was developed by Kursk.
Oh, I remember
and is one
that.
of the more impressive construction and management simulation games to be ever released. During a time when big games on the PC, such as SimCity 3000, XCOM 1 and 2, and Civilization 2, were all massive sellers, and putting up a game next to these big hits would be very difficult. But out of nowhere, 1999's Roller Coaster Tycoon and the sequel in 2000 are some of the most impressive pieces of programming on the PC.
I remember this.
The franchise went on to become a smash hit. Chris Sawyer developed Roller Coaster Tycoon almost single-handedly in 2 years and programmed it in almost 100% assembly language and made use of isometric graphics so the player has complete control over the park. You can easily click the rotate button and switch the view around so you can see exactly what's going on from all sides. The level of detail in this game is amazing, and the game itself runs fast even on the slowest PCs of the era thanks to the serious amount of optimization that was put into the game. Every single piece of this game has been handcrafted, and it shows. It's a brilliant game and a showcase for what's possible with thousands of individual hand-drawn isometric blocks. Now for me, if there's one game that defines the peak era of isometric...
I think I know this game. Oh my god, I know this game. I know this game so much, but I just forgot its title.
Views in video games combined with smooth pre-rendered graphics animations, it's undoubtedly Commandos 2, Men of Courage. Originally released on the PC in 2001.
Yeah, I remember this.
Recently got a HD update, including on
the maybe I should play this. I remember
Nintendo Switch console in 2020. The game itself sees players control a squad of commandos with various allied units, with the goal of each mission to sneak behind enemy lines and complete specific objectives. The game itself is set in World War II between 1941 and 1944, and once again, the graphical style is superb, showing excellent shadows and lighting. And although the characters are quite small, they are very well animated, and man, does everything look superb. When I think isometric 3D games,
True.
this is the one that I think about more than anything else. Commandos 2 Men of Honor is a
Have to
fantastic
think.
real-time tactical game and a superb
Need to think about getting
isometric
this.
showcase. Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale were also powerhouse RPGs for the PC that used superb hand-drawn
Why Baldur's Gate 2? Why not 1?
art combined with an isometric viewport. Other games I want to mention here include Shadowrun on the Super NES, Equinox on the Super NES, Final Fantasy Tactics on the original PlayStation, which
True.
allowed for the player to rotate around and maintain the isometric viewport, and of course Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 on the PC. All classic games, with still some active franchises running to this very day. But maybe one of the most underrated games ever that featured an isometric viewport was
Is
Nox,
what?
released
Nox? Have I even heard of
in
Nox ever?
2000 and developed by Westwood Studios. This was the same studio responsible for the Command & Conquer franchise. Nox is an underrated action RPG hybrid with very unique gameplay elements.
Never heard of
It often gets
it.
labeled a Diablo clone, but this is doing the game a disservice. While it is a hack-and-slash RPG, there's enough unique and interesting ideas to put the game above the crowd. Definitely one worth checking out if you like your action role-playing games. By the early to mid-2000s, isometric games with pre-rendered or hand-drawn artwork were slowly starting to phase out. Their time had seemingly passed. At this point, 3D graphics cards were much more affordable, and
True.
games on PC
And people just played Metal Gear Solid 2 all the time.
came standard with hardware acceleration. Not only this, game consoles had become powerful. The PS2, original Xbox, Dreamcast, and GameCube could all render fast 3D graphics with advanced features, and it meant that games no longer needed to resort to painstakingly pre-rendering thousands of static 3D models. This was the era of first and third-person games that performed 3D calculations in real time with fast frame rates and dynamic lighting.
I mean, you still had your Diablos, you still have your Path of Exiles.
But isometric video games never really went away. Instead,
True.
they adapted. Games that previously used hand-drawn or pre-rendered 3D would start to use real-time 3D to render, switching to a traditional perspective. Syndicate Wars in 1996, the follow-up to Syndicate, was the first game that I remember that did this. And by 2012, XCOM and Diablo 3
I cannot believe you did not show Syndicate Wars. The game that I played so much. I'm mad at this video. I wanted to see it for nostalgia's sake, Syndicate Wars. It had a really wacky intro as well.
still had a familiar isometric look, but used a more traditional 3D approach. But not all game consoles in the mid-2000s were good enough to handle real-time 3D. The Game Boy Advance could do some impressive 3D, but more often than not, many ports from the PC or Big Brother game consoles often would resort to isometric view for its graphical style. Max Payne and the Tony
I
Hawk
played some
games
of
come
them.
to mind. And for all intents and purposes, these games look great on the GBA, and they still have a very familiar feel when it comes to gameplay.
Tony Hawk.
Isometric video games have seen somewhat of a resurgence
Oh, there
in
you
recent
go.
times.
Hades.
Games such as Hades, Disco Elysium, and Pillars of Eternity all use the same style, and these games are wonderful pieces of art in their own right. Many indie games also use the style. It's
Now we have
familiar
Hades
and
too.
proven, especially for real-time simulation and strategy games. And I think if there's one final thing that I want to talk about is that these isometric style games still look as good now than they ever have. It's a style and it's a vibe. Even the earliest games still look striking in their appearance, and the more modern games look like paintings that you would hang on a wall. And it was all thanks to the amazing
Okay, no, they don't. Okay, let's calm down. They don't look like paintings that you'd hang on your wall. Okay, I don't think you've seen many paintings in your life. If you say that, I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to be rude, but that's just the reality of it. Okay, they don't look like paintings. I feel like such a bully when I say that.
creativity of developers who push through the limits of conventional 2D hardware to bring these visual showcases to video games. Isometric 3D games may not be as popular as they once were, but it's something that I'll never forget. And with that, we're going to leave it here for today's episode. If you did like this episode, please don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and let me know what your favorite isometric game is that you've played. We're going to leave it here. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
By the art snob, true. I mean, I'm the artist. My mom was a painter. My mom is a painter, but my grandmother was a painter. My mom is still a painter. I come from a painter family, okay? I have a right to be like, oh, come on, wait up. No, that's not true. That's not true at all, okay? Let's calm down a little bit. Scale back the praise. Alright, we had some fun. Fun's over. Now it's time for depressive news, okay? You ready? I'm gonna do a few topics and then I guess we're gonna bail. We're gonna boing. You're gonna boing? Yes. I'm gonna boing to bed and sleep. Alright, I'm ready to talk about the most sad things, okay? The most saddest thing I'm ready to talk about. Where are you? I've found you. And now I'm ready. I feel ready. Readier than ever. Oh, that's an interesting. I guess I'll talk about a little bit of a positive, but that'll be brief. Because I've never thought I'd see the day. Never thought that would happen. Oh wait, no, we're gonna do a little bit of a react because we're gonna have some more fun. We're gonna laugh at Dan. We're gonna laugh at Dan, the man. I wanted to take a look at this before. I'm gonna laugh at Dan a bit because apparently he says some really strange things.
I don't know what happens. Like, I was friendly, I thought, with President.
I was President Sunday's best friend, and then I know now what happened. What happened? Did you tell the community that you were streaming? No. No, I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I sort of did. It automatically tells on my Discord that there's a YouTube alert that I'm streaming. But otherwise, we didn't. Wait, was there a YouTube alert? Yeah, there was. It says so on the Discord. Everyone, come to stream. Gigglers? Oh yes. Alright, I'm ready. I'm ready now to talk about Dan, President Sunday's best friend. Apparently really good friends. That's what I'm getting from this. Dan and President Sunday are really tight. That's what I heard.
Sunday, and then he just started making like hit piece videos on me, and then
No, you called in and you lied to my face. Actually, you were aware that people were able to phone verify from Israel during the disabling of email-only verification.
Why did you lie to President Sunday, Dan? I thought you were friends. Friends don't lie to one another. Please don't lie, Dan. Apologize. Maybe then you'll be able to mend your friendship. You consider apologizing to President? I always apologize to my friends when I do something wrong. Truly, I always do. I try.
And you came onto my stream and you flat out lied to my face. A lot of people in all sorts of communities are looking at this guy and like,
did President Sunday just call Dan flat? Did you see him call him flat? Uh-oh, only have one left. I'm actually and it's a really weird thing to say. I'm actually resorting to, how do you say it? Rationing the hormones. I'm rationing the HRT. I'm forced to ration the HRT because I just don't have enough, I guess. I have to get more in Poland. But apart from that, I'm forced to ration. Ration with passion. Do you know this saying? If you ration, you have to do it with passion.
Wait, we thought you were okay. What is this? You look like you're insane. Dan likes to claim, hey, because he was
Oh, come on, President Sunday. Don't call him insane. That cannot be good for your friendship. You don't call your friends insane. It does suck. But what sucks more is calling your friends insane. You shouldn't do that, President Sunday. Don't be mean to your friend, Dan. What has he done to you, apart from lying? That you said he lied to your face. But apart from that, what he has done to you? What has he done to you, ever? True.
defending the CEO thing the other day. He likes to say, oh, I know what it's like to be poor, guys. I'm sympathetic. I understand. Let me show you something. These are chat.
I know what it's like to be poor as well. Also, again, very long intro to a very short video.
Logs.
True.
In which someone called Hark Dan.
I don't know. You don't feel dysfunctional to me. It's a very slow stream day today. As in, so far, I've only done slow things. The video game thing, it's okay. I'm gonna pick up steam when I get to more serious topics. Hello, Statix. Hello, Chasordis. New Sonic X Shadow game is amazing. Can't believe it was full $60. Wait, how much is it? How much? There's a new Sonic game? And I don't know about it? Sonic X Shadow. Is that the game Sonic X Shadow Generations? Is that game new? Is that a new game? No, it's not that new, actually. It's a few months old. It looks pretty cool though. Maybe I should get it. Would you like to gift it to me?
Dan talks about his background. Drink it in. Just what an amazing.
Also, why is President Sunday being so mean to his friend Dan? I'm never like this to my friends. This I relapsed yesterday. That is not good. But hopefully you'll get your medication soon. Medication can make a huge difference in a person's life. I know.
What an amazing sentence. If you want to know if a Jewish person can be anti-Semitic, there you go, Exhibit A. I'm poor.
Wait, Dan is Jewish? I didn't know Dan was Jewish. But your friends are mean to you. No. There are no friends that are mean to you. Are you mean to me, fake Alec L. Parker? Are you a big meanie? You a bully?
Or I've been homeless. I've been there. Actually, I'm the opposite of an SJW because I'm rich. And I'm from a well-off family. Unlike those black people, because only the smart ones of my race escape. Like, Jesus Christ, this guy's nuts. Nutso.
What? We're still talking about Dan? Dan is white.
Let's see this. So apparently Dan has some
I thought Dan was
nice
white.
words for me. He could speak to me directly, but he correctly fears me now.
He doesn't fear you, he just doesn't want to hurt your feelings because he's your friend. Thank you. Oh, you've got 3 friends? It's only been out for a month and a half. Wow. You should gift it to me, you know? Also, you should join lucyhaza.org/live. Actually, no. If you're gonna gift me something, it should be the Path of Exile Early Access. 4 if you count my dog who, oh wow, peed on your leg. That's sounds like revenge, actually. Some sort of a grudge thing. True. Your dog betrayed you like President Sunday betrayed Dan. Or Dan betrayed President Sunday, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Dude, I had to I don't know what happens. Like, I was friendly, I thought, with President Sunday, like in spite of him hating Destiny.
See?
And then he just started making like hit piece videos on me, and then
Stop
You
making...
called in and you lied to my face. You talked to Kid Not Kin. You admitted that.
I have to call in to President Sunday. Let's see President Sunday streaming. I have to call in and ask, what happened, President Sunday? What happened? Dan was your friend, your best friend even. Would you... I don't know if President Sunday is married, but if he were not to be married, then President Sunday would invite Dan to be his best man on his wedding. What happened? Why did you reject your best man like that?
The people you were targeting were ex-employees and non-Twitch affiliated Reddit posts. And so you targeting Twitch and harassing ex-Twitch staff had nothing to do with actually holding Twitch.
The gist is probably that proper care was not taken to provide service availability and reliability in Israel, at least. Oh, is that what ruined President Sunday's and Dan's friendship? Damn, doesn't take much, does it?
Twitch accountable. And you also admitted that actually
doesn't take much.
We're aware that people were able to phone verify from Israel during the disabling of email-only verification. And you came onto my stream and you flat out lied to my face. And I have no truck with that.
Dan, you should not lie to your friends. I should do friends counseling. I should have them in the same chat, stream, or whatever. And I should be this psychology negotiator that would have them mend their friendship. Just like Xanderhall did back in the day to Destiny and Vosh, and that worked very well. So I want to replicate that model. I want to take that success that Xanderhall had with Destiny and Vosh, and I want to apply it to President Sunday and Dan. I feel like it could work. I feel like I can do it. Can I have a... I feel like I want to start a poll, actually. I feel like this is the best idea I've had in a while. Hold on. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna start this poll. How do I start a poll on the phone? I have no clue. I have no clue how to start a poll on the... but fortunately, I think I have the stream on the computer as well. So let me see. Okay. Okay, I'm starting it. Start the poll. Can Lucy mend PS, which stands for President Sunday? Hold on. Okay. Can Lucy mend PS, President Sunday, and Dan's friendship? Absolutely. You are an expert. You are our expert. Should be. Just like not so erudite. No. But nice try. Boom. Can I be the next Xanderhall? Just like he mended Vosh and Destiny, I feel like I can man President Sunday and Dan. Start the poll. I feel really good about this. Okay. Start voting. Greater Range, you should do the poll as well, Greater Range, honestly. In this little chat. Yeah? Okay, I'm joking. Just so you all know, I'm joking. This is I'm giving it like this TLDR. No, not TLDR. I'm making a preface. This is all in jest. I don't really want to mend President Sunday's and Dan's friendship. I don't think they were ever friends. I mean, Dan seems to think they were, but in which case it's pretty sad, but what are you gonna do? Oh, nice. See? You read my thoughts and you do the thing before I even can do it. Let's see how the poll's doing on YouTube. I feel like it's doing very well. I thought I heard a siren. Maybe I'm wrong. For some reason I thought I heard an air siren. It's in the Kyiv region, but not in the city proper. So I guess I must have misheard. I thought I heard a siren though. President Sandy seems like the type of person to reject everyone and not have friends. True. I'm on pretty good terms with President Sandy though.
It's that simple. You lied to my face at the expense of other people who didn't do what you accused them of. That's not you being friendly, my dude. That's you treating me like a chump. And I'm sorry to say I'm not your chump, Dan.
And adding
Not your chump, Dan.
me in like Chud's Discord, like constantly, like being aggressive.
Yeah.
I had to fucking on whatever. He like I don't know what happened. He became like obsessed with me. Like
I'm obsessed with Dan.
I didn't even say anything to the guy.
I'm obsessed with a lot of people, aren't I?
But not obsessed enough with me, okay? Not obsessed enough with me to regularly raid me, somehow. Somehow obsessed with a lot of people, but never with me. What's up with that, President Sunday?
The amount of people I'm obsessed with, it's really incredible. One would wonder how I find the time.
It's very, very strange.
I mean, if you only spend your time obsessing over people, then you can actually obsess over a surprising amount of people, if that's the only thing you do.
Sure.
What? Why say sure? What? That is not even a response to what I'm saying.
You're kind of friends with the guy who doxed him, right?
Who?
Well, what's upset?
Oh, and called me. Doxed me and called me.
Wait,
Destiny.
Using his name
right,
publicly. Yeah, so like
I
feel like
obsessed.
I feel like he
not
was
even.
like.
Hold on, I wouldn't even say like he was the first person, but I think he probably drew the most attention to it or tried to.
Yeah, I mean, but like, you know, are you really gonna hold the son accountable for the sins of the father?
What? Wait, Dan is President Sunday's son?
Dan is Destiny's son. I'm going to be referring to him as that from now on, okay?
I think it probably has more to do with the fact that like you're doing like a crusade against Twitch based on like political
lies.
Like a politically controversial topic that President Sunday is like opposed to you on.
Oh, maybe.
Well, can we qualify like what obsessed is?
And using Destiny's community to do that.
Thank you, Cherry. God, I love Cherry. Oh, I love Cherry. Cherry's wonderful.
Well, I would say that I'm righteous in that path.
If you're righteous in your path, you wouldn't have to make up stuff. You'd be able to tell the truth.
Wait, hold on. I make up stuff all the time, and I'm still righteous. Righteous, right? I'm still righteous, even though I make stuff up all the time. Is that right, everybody? In fact, you watch me before because I make stuff up.
Yeah, I think he's just.
Do you want to just
I think he can also farm you a lot.
Behavior is?
That's true.
Sure.
Farm me?
Yeah.
Like he can just farm you.
The problem is like the videos
like a farmer.
on me don't get very many views because people don't know who the fuck I am.
That's true.
I feel like one, people in this sphere absolutely know who you are, but two, I I would expect them to get
People know
views.
who I am.
Sunday's channel?
Okay, if people know who I am, then definitely they know who Dan is, right? It's very strange. A lot of people know who I am. You'd be surprised. Be surprised how many people hear Lucy Hazet and are like, oh yeah, of course, Lucy Hazet, this streamer that does this and that. This Polish streamer, of course I know. You'd be very shocked by how many times it gets that reaction from people, from pretty big streamers.
You take a look.
You know, I'm gonna make
Good views for me. I got it. Yeah.
a video on my. I installed an air handler in my office. I'm gonna make a video on
I'm just
it.
gonna let you know that your videos are like in the past 2 weeks, like some of the best ones he's got.
Oh, well.
His like anti-Destiny content is like big on his channel, and I think, or as far as his anti-Destiny content goes, like you fit into that pretty well too.
Well, I guess it is what it
didn't
is.
have a recent
True, my anti-Destiny content is huge as well. Got tens of thousands of views on my anti-Destiny videos when I rant and rave about Destiny. I love it because it brings me tons of money. I've seen a user with the name Dan float around, I think, but I'm not really familiar. Maybe it's this Dan. Maybe this Dan is checking me out. Who's Dan? Or Clancy? Oops, Southman. Dan is a person that runs a crappy show with Destiny called That Other Thing or whatever. I don't like it. I'm not gonna get into why, but I'm not a fan. Hello, Defo Philippe August. How are you? How are you today? Have you come here for the politics? I'm here to give you the politics, and I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep like a baby, even though I'm a grown adult. And then I have to do tons of stuff. Dan, the man, Dan the man. Alright, let's go.
I also don't hate Dan, by the way.
Of course, you're friends. You don't hate your friends.
Dan is just a compulsive liar and has a predatory tendency to lie about people to hurt them in order to make himself feel important, because he's sitting next to Destiny, who has a large audience that watches him for him, and he's talking to people like Piers Morgan, and Dan's in his 40s, and he's like, well, I can do that. I can do that. And then he can't do it. This is...
Oh, man. It's true. That's how I feel. Well, no, I actually don't feel like that. I just skip the step when I say I can do that. And I just tell myself I can't do that. But I still do it, which should give me some bravery points. I'm voting no because I know you could mend it, but I don't want you to. Oh, thank you, Philippe August. I want food, but then I have to heat it up and I'm too lazy, and it's a real dilemma, the struggle. Well, let me help you. What food is it? I'll decide for you based on what food it is. If it's good food, then you absolutely should heat it up.
deep insecurity. He came on, he accused somebody of being an anti-Semite on no evidence.
I have deep insecurity.
He didn't
Maybe I'm Dan, secretly.
understand what Zionism was, so to talk about anti-Zionism being equivalent to anti-Semitism means nothing when you're talking to him, by definition. Like, it was just embarrassing. And it's not just me, by the way. A lot of people in DGG, in Chud's community, in all sorts of communities, are looking at this guy and like, wait, we thought you were okay. What is this? You look like you're insane. Destiny's head mod had a big post on it because he had he had to remove Dan's moderation perms because he was banning people for disagreeing with his mindless crusade. It's embarrassing.
Stream with Kid Not Kin.
Yeah,
Is
I like that guy.
Is reacting
I can't-
to that
I can't-
considered like obsessive?
What, to talk with him? I think that guy's pretty cool though.
No, you're just dumb. Here's the thing you need to understand, Dan.
Oh my God.
I was actually friendly with you, so I was straight with you. Kidnotkin is bringing you on to let you unspool of your own accord because he knows that you will. And you do. He's just not very good at marketing it afterwards.
No,
Have
but I
you
mean,
talked
if people
Have you
react
talked to that guy before?
Yeah, I know.
My goodness. I wonder what category do I fall into when talking to people? Am I straight?
Kid not
We
kin.
Cherry knows.
I've been
him.
in this
He
space a
just
long
got added to the
time. Yeah.
Discord, but he's
That
like
guy's
I think
super-
a Twitch exclusive streamer, so I can't talk
In
to
this
him. Probably
space.
You
Yeah,
can't
I
really
can't-
talk to him anymore.
Now he's on YouTube. Kidnakin's on YouTube. That's wrong.
I can't either. But he's
That's true. He is on YouTube. I don't watch this stuff normally. What stuff? My stuff? You don't watch my stuff normally? You should watch more of my stuff. Please, please watch more of my stuff. I'm begging. I'm begging. See? This is the example.
super reasonable.
Yeah, you can. He's on YouTube. He's not Twitch
Yeah,
exclusive.
he is.
He's on YouTube all the time. I read into him
He is on
sometimes.
YouTube.
He's like
He has a
he gives-
YouTube, JSOC. He said
Kidnakin.
No, Lucy, you fall into the gay category when talking to people. That is true. That is undoubtedly true. No matter how you slice it.
Was laughing under his breath all the time. Yeah, I saw. It wasn't just laughing under his breath. He was silent, but he was throwing back.
that he would literally come on and just be on YouTube if that's the case. If you wanted to chat.
My take on him is that he gives really good strong pushback. Doesn't and he what I like and I think probably he doesn't roll over, which is annoying but also kind of nice. Meaning
That despite the fact he's being very polite,
I roll over. I roll over that like a little pet piglet drama
still in
stuff.
control. Dan, you are a
But then we're about to jump into politics just for you, Lamp.
fly, and the spider is sitting there, just watching you struggle and wrap
Spider?
the web around yourself. That's what's happening.
some
Who's the spider in this metaphor? Is President Sunday?
I mean, sometimes when you talk to people, like you can kind of push them your way, and they don't want to push too hard because bigger creator and all that jazz. But he seems pretty authentic. I like that. There's not a lot of people out there that aren't like just obviously trying to buddy up and be friends with you. To
Damn. Am I authentic? Rate my authenticness. Oh, that's another poll that I have to do. Oh my gosh. Am I authentic? Here we go. Let's go. Lucy authenticity poll. Lucy authenticity poll. My hand hurts for some reason. I don't know why, but my wrist hurts. Have no clue why. I have no clue what happened. Okay. Is Lucy authentic? Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. No. Fake as pie. Sort of. But very sus. Sus, but does it matter? Here you go. This is the best uncat, best poll I've ever made. I'm gonna go back to it in some time, and I'm gonna see if what the results are. Also, I'm gonna like my own stream because I'm a narcissist. Okay.
whatever, get more views or get into Destiny's orbit or something along those lines. So,
Yeah.
but I thought he was a pretty cool dude. But yeah, I'm banned on Twitch, so now, yeah.
Did you ever get to ask him anything about what got him into Twitch?
No,
He used to be, I think he would even put it this way. He used to be like part of Antifa. What is it in like Portland, Oregon?
yeah.
And so he is very critical now because he started noticing how bizarre the dynamic was in like the movement that he was in. Even if he knew what he was talking about, they would sort of like tell you to shut up and listen. A black person is speaking. And yeah, I think like he wants progressive positions, progressive shit being pushed forward without all of the
I don't particularly care. I have no problem being friendly to Dan, but here's the difference, okay? I recognize the distinction between nice and kind, and Dan is nice in order to try and undermine your critical faculties.
Am I,
and that doesn't work
am I
with
kind?
Kid, and it doesn't work with me. The difference is I reacted to him, and Kid didn't. That's it.
Damn.
It's the only difference. But just...
Do you think that would work on me? You're just back for... No, I felt pain in my chest. For some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting a heart attack. Wait. Who stopped the poll? Who stopped the poll on YouTube? Somebody ended the poll on YouTube. No. Ow. Why am I feeling this pain in my chest? Maybe I am getting some sort of a thing on stream.
so you know, Dan, Kid does not think highly of you.
Something happens called whatever thing. Ambulance. Blech. Maybe that's why my hand hurts.
In fact, he's treating you with utter contempt. Just FYI. Other adults in your circle can recognize that. You should ask them.
Oh my
Are you sure I'm
gosh.
lying about being poor? It's hilarious. Fine. Dan likes to claim, hey, because he was defending the CEO thing the other day, and he likes to say, oh, I know what it's like to be poor, guys. I'm sympathetic. I understand. In order to give his position a little more humanity, I suppose. Let's pull this up quickly.
care officials around them, they don't have anger with the people who are directly treating them.
Stop. You don't get to say that I don't know what it's like. I have been poor. I have been homeless. I was in the fucking military, okay? Just because
You're just in the military now.
I managed to get lucky and become rich doesn't mean that I've lost my memory. And
Okay, let me show you something.
I'm not rich. So I guess I'm just poor. I stopped at the poor level. Drama takes a toll. Was me your best troll who stopped the poll, Lucy? Oh no. Why did you do that, trolling from Flask?
These are chat logs in which someone called Hark Dan talks about his background. Okay. I'm rich. I'm the opposite of an SJW. I came from a well-off family. Well-of family. Dan is not big on spelling. Oh.
What?
That's interesting. Evolution explains why Jews are so powerful and blacks are not. The only Jews who skipped the Holocaust were the smartest of the smart, so the only ones left by definition are the creme de la creme. Now take blacks.
What? Oh my god, did Dan really say that? I cannot believe that. I cannot. Did Dan really say that? What the? I think it's unfortunate that some well-meaning people place a lot of emphasis on it because really few people actually pay attention to it. Wait, what are you talking about, Dan? Are you talking about my chest pain or what? Or calling an ambulance?
It's the only ones we have in America for the most part. Jesus Christ.
Dan is Jewish.
Really? Okay. Now you're probably wondering, Hark Dan, who the hell is that? That's not Dan Saltman.
No, it's
but
not.
It is. Observe.
Oh. Is it? Oh no.
This situation is so messed up. Featuring Hark Dan. Who is Hark Dan?
Well, I'll leave it to you to do the research of what car we're going to get while we're out there.
Oh
Don't you use
no.
that, Turo or whatever the f it is?
No,
That's
I'm
a
done with
familiar
that fucking
voice.
website, dude. I feel like every time I show up there, somebody. I feel like I. Okay.
Here's another one. Featuring Hark Dan.
Well, yeah, it's designed to stop
Flat tax debate featuring Hark Dan.
rapid stock manipulation. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, now buying and selling shares of a company is stock manipulation, Dan? You sound a lot like a lefty right now.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no. The only Jewish people that made it out of the Holocaust were the best of the best, the creme de la creme. I don't even know how to comment on that. It's so stupid. Just pain from the love. From the love of what?
Eugenics Dan. White nationalist Dan Saltman, yeah. You know, just I want this on screen for a second, okay? We've established this as Dan. Just drink it in. Just what an amazing sentence. This is from 2015. Damn. 2015. In 2015, I'm rich. I came from a well-off family. No, you can't say I don't understand what it's like not getting your insurance payout when you're deathly ill. I'm poor. I've been homeless. I've been there. Actually, I'm the opposite of an SJW because I'm rich and I'm from a well-off family. From a well-off family, unlike those black people, because only the smart ones of my race escaped. Like, Jesus Christ, this guy's nuts. Nutso. I just want to say, like, granted, Dan said this in his 30s, so, you know, he was a little baby, he didn't understand. But to say that the Jews who didn't survive the Holocaust were not the smart...
You can comment because Dan is right? No, I can't comment because Dan is stupid. I'm sorry. I'm from Warsaw, okay? Oh, God. I grew up in what used to be the ghetto. The Warsaw ghetto. It's ridiculous. What a ridiculous thing to say. Aww. Oh, you know what sounds so good? You should get them. Maybe you strain the muscle on top of your heart. Happened to me once. Maybe. Lucy, according to Dan's logic, you are the apex of human evolution. I am, yeah, I'm the creme de la creme. I'm literally the creme de la creme, according to Dan. So maybe I should take that as a compliment. I should take the compliment. Jesus Christ. Oh, God. I'm just the best that humanity has to offer, basically.
Smart ones, like, what a psychotic thing to say. Oh, yeah, Holocaust victims, they were just dumb. Who says that? That's like, well, why? Why would you ever say that? That's such a psychotic thing to say. That's such a psychotic... If you want to know if a Jewish person could be anti-Semitic, there you go, Exhibit A. Then he pretends to care about anti-Semitism on Twitch. Yeah, it's just like, dude, rich people are dumb, man. They're dumb. I don't know what it is. It's a rare rich person who's not dumb.
Wow. Well, that happened. Well, that happened, and it was very, very disappointing. But you know what? There's a silver lining to this. And the silver lining is that I'm the creme de la creme of humanity. I'm the elite of the elite. I'm just the best, it seems. It seems like I'm just the best in the world. You agree or disagree with this statement? Dan has my back. Dan thinks that I'm la creme de la creme. I'm the creme de la creme. Okay. We're gonna talk about children for a bit. Best girl Lucy. I know. I'm just baffled that people don't recognize it, that I'm the the best. Maybe people are just envious. Damn, guess we have to obey your will now since you're the best of humanity. I am. It's true. It's more true than ever. But in the meantime, you know what I do in Ukraine, right? I go to this organization. I've established pretty good cooperation with this organization called Save Ukraine. It deals with saving children that either live in occupied territories or were kidnapped from war zones to Russia to be Russified. It's a very big problem. There's a lot of moving parts to it. 2 people from Russia, and one of those 2 people include Vladimir Putin, have an ICC arrest warrant because of this exact issue. I recently interviewed a rescued child. And let's get some stats. Russia has abducted nearly 20,000 Ukrainian children since the invasion began, says President Zelensky. And less official sources actually say that a lot more children have been kidnapped, just so you know. A lot of these numbers cannot be officially accounted for. So that makes the official numbers a lot more conservative. But also, the fact is, children have been kidnapped before the full-scale invasion. Children have been kidnapped since 2014, which we also have to take into consideration. And that would bump up the statistic quite a lot. And now the other very relevant statistic. Only 1,030 children have been returned with the help of Qatar and the Vatican, and of course with the help of organizations such as Save Ukraine. And what can I say? Let's watch this video quickly. And then I'm gonna talk about it a bit because let's just say I'm pretty passionate about talking about this topic because my own grandfather was kidnapped during World War II. It's a long story, it's a bit complicated, but let's just say that I can relate in a way.
Russia has abducted almost 20,000 Ukrainian children since the start of its full-scale invasion. This was reported by Ukrainian President Zelensky in an interview with CBN.
And this has been happening before. I'm just gonna repeat this now as we are watching the video, okay?
Also told the interviewer that there is currently no mechanism in place to easily bring Ukrainian children back home through exchanges, as Kiev does not hold any Russian kids captive.
They kidnapped 19,500 Ukrainian children. And these are only verified cases.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad he said so. These are verified cases because the real number is much higher. Trust me, the real number is much higher.
However, pay attention to the Russian Human Rights Ombudsman's announcement back in 2023, I believe, that they are holding 700,000 Ukrainian children captive.
There we go. Suddenly a much bigger number, isn't it?
Yes, it's their official data. I don't know how true that estimate is, but it's horrifying. It's horrendous that they take pride in kidnapping Ukrainian children.
And Russifying them. And of course, there are many methods by which they do it. Some of the more horrifying methods of Russifying children include telling them that there's nothing in Ukraine for them, that it's a wasteland, that it's not a real place, that it has no electricity, telling children that were kidnapped from their families or from the foster care system. And keep in mind, children that are in foster care are not always orphans. It's an important thing that people don't always realize, but I'm not going to be going deeper into this right now, but Russians tell children that their families don't love them, that they don't want them, that if they love them, they would have come to pick them up by now. And basically, the only way for them to succeed in life is to probably, if they are boys, to join a paramilitary organization like UNARMIA, to become loyal Russians, to throw away the silly language of Ukrainian, to speak in Russian only exclusively and to start a career in Russia. That is the only way for them to find happiness, that there's no happiness to be found in Ukraine as a Ukrainian. These are very insidious methods. Of course, there are situations in which children live with the parents in Russia, in which case the children are often used as spies, to spies on the Ukrainian parents. It's awful. There are many, many awful methods in which Russia conducts its Russification of Ukrainian children.
Meanwhile, only 1,030 kids have been returned to Ukraine, Zelensky told CBN, which was made possible with support by representatives from Qatar and the Vatican.
Russian kids are forced to go to Ukraine. Ukrainian kids are forced to go to Russian schools. That is a procedure that happens in the occupied territories. You have a Ukrainian family, and the Russian soldiers come, usually not dressed as soldiers at all, by the way. They just have their machine guns. That is something that I've learned during the recent interview, that civilian dressed people with machine guns come into a family's house and start making demands. And when the family asks, well, can you show us any documentation? Then they point at their machine guns and say, this is our documentation. We don't need anything else. These are our documents. So they basically say, if your kid does not go to a Russian school, you're going to lose your kid permanently, and your kid's just going to go to a foster care system. You're going to lose your children if you don't send them to a Russian school. And this sort of pressure, terror, manipulation, those are the tools used by the Russian Federation to, depending on the situation, depending on what they feel the situation demands, this is what the Russian Federation does in order to Russify the kids. Unfortunate as it is. And this is where the Save Ukraine comes in, with their hotlines, with their special accommodations for families and children to live in once they're rescued, for psychologists to undo the brainwashing that the Russian Federation very gleefully engages in. It's all very, very grim. Especially since think about this. If we have peace negotiations in January next year, if we have peace talks in January next year under Trump, do you think that Trump will make it his priority to negotiate the return of the Ukrainian children? I personally don't think so. I personally do not think that, I personally do not think that Trump will make it his priority when it comes to ending the war, quote unquote, to retrieve the kidnapped Ukrainian children. And frankly, I also don't think Russia would agree to returning the children. So even if you don't have a war, even when the war stops, the kidnapped children will be an ongoing problem. It will be a continuous problem to deal with in various ways. And who knows how things will escalate when it comes to the attempts to rescue kidnapped kids from the Russian Federation. Who knows what methods Russia will start using to prevent that from happening. There are already right now basically two separate channels through which people are being rescued. The official border channel and the less official frontline channel. And that channel has already been attacked by drones. people rescued from occupied territories that were in buses prepared to drive away to safety were attacked by drones and people were killed. Just so you know the reality of how Russia treats civilian life. I think anybody that watches me is perfectly aware that Russia just does not care about civilian life. If Russia does not care about the Russian civilian life, then I don't see why anyone would believe that it believes in the safety of Ukrainian civilian life. Even though some Russian officials, some Russian higher-ups say that Ukrainians are just Russians, but it is an interesting way to treat people that say that you treat as your own. I'll just say that. So I guess I've done this little rant about children because it's a topic that I'm constantly in. And I feel like even if I didn't say much right now, even if I didn't give any super in-depth information or super long analysis of the situation, I just think it's worth repeating the basics, the basic information about what's happening, who's doing it, to whom, how long has it been going on, will it continue after the war, which I believe it will because the children will still have been kidnapped after the war. It's a very big problem, and it's a problem that affects Ukrainian society at large, I believe. There you go. A little bit of a segment for fake Alex Kyle Parker to Oricon, among others that are on the roster. What do you think? Any thoughts from the audience? I was told to eliminate dead air on streams by taking a look at the chat and reading it, but I don't see much new chat, which creates a big problem for me. Because that means that the stream is going to be full of dead air. Creamy AF. You take the creme de la creme to another level. True. Doesn't Russia have a ton of orphans already? Maybe. I don't know the data on Russian orphans. Disgusting. True. Sounds bad. Oh, it is bad. It is worse. It is not just bad. It's worse. It's whatever bad I think it is, it's worse. I don't think it's an exaggeration. Some of the kids go through really extreme stuff. Really extreme, brutal stuff. I've been talking about the more delicate situations. Well, not delicate. The more light situations, which is already very telling. There are some children that go through very extreme stuff, like a child that lives in occupied territory with his father, who keeps being taken to the basement to be tortured, returns to the 6-year-old boy all beaten up and tortured, and then whenever the child has to go somewhere outside of his apartment, he has to go through a bunch of dead Russian soldier bodies. He has to pass a bunch of dead bodies every single time he has to go somewhere. Like this is the more extreme example of what the kids go through in occupied territories. And then a child like that gets rescued and gets under the care of psychologists. And of course, the child's gonna have trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder. And this particular child wet himself for months and did not speak at all. So that's one of the more drastic examples of what happens in those occupied territories. And this sort of situations can happen whether or not you will have a continuous war, by the way. the torture, a lot of it will, maybe not the piles of dead Russian soldier bodies, but a lot of it will still happen, even in quote-unquote peacetime, under occupation. I'm not even sure if you didn't call it peace from the perspective of the occupied people. Officially a peace, but is it really peaceful for the people that are left behind in occupied territories? I don't think so. I just don't think that's the case. So yeah, there you go. That's a topic I'm glad to have been able to speak to you about. What time is it? It is now. Whew. So yes. I'm thinking one more topic and I'm gonna wrap up. It's the weekend. I should be resting during the weekend. Do you not think? And yet I stream. And yet I am a worker bee. I'm a worker bee for the wonderful, wonderful people here. Now my chest is hurting. Wow. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to have that effect on you. I did not mean to do that to you. But yes, I feel like we'll be wrapping up soon. This is a very short weekend stream. My apologies. During the week, I'll try to make them a bit longer. I'll try to give you more to chew on, so to speak, if that makes sense. I'll try to make... I'm just trying to get you in the Christmas mood with my wonderful political news about children. Besides, I don't think many other streamers that talk about Ukraine even breach this topic a lot. I don't think there's a single streamer that talks about Ukraine that talks about the topic of kidnapped children, unless you can name me one. That's not me. Name me one person that covers Ukraine that talks about this topic. I dare you. I double dare you. I triple, quadruple dare you to do it. You won't be able to. They don't exist. Destiny's CEO fails, son. Present Sunday. I can't believe I have to drive all the way to work on a Saturday. Well, it's already Sunday where I am. It's already long Sunday. It's 1 a.m. Sunday. Okay. Shark Trio Zero. The Finding Out arc. What an interesting thing. Destiny chilling. Let's snipe him. John Green talks about orphans in Sierra Leone. Okay, I meant the topic of kidnapped. I meant streamers that, from a certain perspective, Sunday streams on Sunday, yes. I meant streamers that cover Ukraine, who talk about kidnapped children by Russia too. Is na żywo meaning new video? No, na żywo means live. That it's live. Heat up the burger, yes. So this person, John Green, does not count. Because I was asking about people that cover Ukraine, that talk about kidnapped children. From Ukraine to Russia. Sadists are in full meltdown and it's beautiful. The Mexico-US border immigration and more. Vegcom. What is this game? Is it... I don't know this game. Is it Indiana Jones? The Road to Orange Piccolo. Todas las cinemáticas Metal Gear Solid 3. Wow. The sadists are in full meltdown. And it's beautiful. Big drama. Muta responds. Bo Black's allegations. Bo Black's allegations. Wonderful. Was I influential? Wow. How sad. Everything that I missed in order of importance. What have you missed? Oh my gosh, 9 hours of streaming. I cannot do that today. I cannot do that tonight. Her power level is BS. I can't believe I have to grow. Alright. Queeman. Oh my god. Does debating get you... Well, that's it. There's one more thing that I could be talking about though. Is this. That's Iran's big loss. We'll see. We'll actually see if Russia ends up losing on Syria or not. We will actually see. Isn't that right, Gibblers? Alright. Maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm feeling very tired right now. I feel like my chest is hurting and I feel like I should lie down. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the $10. I'm gonna like it and heart it. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. It feels like I'm streaming 7 days a week right now. I'm hoping to see you tomorrow. Also, I've started streaming 2 times per day. I stream a bit during the day itself, and then I stream at night. And I'm talking my time zone. That's basically what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna raid into a person called Vegcom. I think. Let's raid into Vegcom. I encourage you to watch some of the VODs that I've uploaded. And I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Because today is a little bit shorter, I'm gonna make it up to you tomorrow. I'm gonna super smite you, as in I'm gonna not smite you, I'm gonna awe you. I'm gonna leave you in a state of amazement of how great tomorrow's stream's gonna be. But thank you very much for the $10. Go rest. Alright, thank you. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna raid you into a nice leftist streamer, and then I'm gonna rest for tomorrow. Tomorrow I have a lot to do, especially since I'm going to be going back to Poland for a bit. So I have to prepare. I do bless you, yes. I do bless you a lot. Alright, I want to see you. Good night. Let's see if there's any nice chats from the other chat, and then I'm gonna hop out. Let's see, take care, don't overwork, okay? And make sure you eat. I will try to eat. I mean, I ate a bit. Alright, I'm gonna see you. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. And